for 5 minutes.
Thank you, Mr. Kelly, for letting me wave on to this hearing. And I want to thank all of the witnesses. It's good to see you, Chairman Brady. It's always good to see you.
Good to see you, Doctor.
Thank you. Dr. Clausen, it's good to see you again, too, and it's a delight. You know, as I listened to the hearing, I was thinking that for my constituents and for the nation, tariffs are the biggest tax increase we've seen in a generation. And just as you said, Professor Clausen, in your testimony, Trump tariffs are raising prices for Americans on a range of necessities and crippling businesses all over the place. I'm especially concerned about the well-being of vulnerable groups of Americans, such as foster youth, senior citizens, and others who have limited resources and who face challenges in responding to sudden price increases in essential goods. Professor, could you tell us, how do tariff-related price increases for food, housing, utilities, and prescription drugs affect vulnerable foster youth, seniors, and others who have limited income?
Thanks so much for that question. I think it's a very important one. Tariffs are particularly damaging for the lowest income Americans. One study finds that the burden as a share of income is 3 times higher for the lowest decile than it is for the highest decile. And one estimate is that the 2025 tariffs will put an additional 650,000 to 800,000 people below the poverty line because they will be taxed below that level by the higher prices. These higher prices are substantial. Estimates indicate textiles and clothing prices will rise by 14%, motor vehicle prices by 13%. This can amount to costs of thousands of dollars for U.S. households and particularly hurt those that are most vulnerable.
And let me ask things that sometimes we don't think about is how does this affect the cost of child care, for example, just simply child care?
Yeah, so any good that is becoming more expensive will impact the whole economy, and in child care uses traded goods too. But there are a lot of other policies in play right now that are also increasing the cost of child care. Utilities are becoming more expensive, due in part to the phasing out of the clean energy subsidies. Healthcare is becoming more expensive as the premium tax credits go away and as Medicaid is going to be cut. SNAP is being cut under this new OB3 bill. And labor is becoming more expensive due to these immigration crackdowns. And I think that those policies, the moral implications, I think, are particularly serious. But the labor force implications are serious as well. And when you take that whole portfolio of policies, it's all raising costs for child care in addition to the tariffs.
You know, all that I've been hearing is that I'm trying to find out who benefits. We know that consumers don't. We know that producers, like farmers, who can't sell their crops or can't distribute what they've produced, all of these are losers. Who are the winners?
Yeah,
who benefit?
That's a good question. I mean, I think partly tariffs are invitation for political corruption. And so at times, if one company can get an exemption when their competitors don't get an exemption, they may have an advantage in the marketplace. Or there might be certain sectors where the tariff provides temporary protection and they're able to, sell a little bit more. But we find even that when you put tariffs on things like steel, right, that you might create an extra 1,000 jobs in the steel industry, but studies suggest that costs you tens of thousands of jobs in the industries that use steel. And I think one of the big costs that we haven't talked about here today, but is really important, is the cost to the international relations of the United States, too. We've alienated some of our closest trading partners, countries like Canada, Japan, Korea, Europe, that have stood by our sides and been great allies in all sorts of ways. And one of the reasons that Congressman Horsford sees less tourism in Nevada is because public sentiment in those countries is turning against the United States, in part because of this harmful trade war. So it's very hard to find winners, and I don't really see any.
Thank you very much. Thank you all, Mr. Chairman. Thank you, and I yield back.
Thank you.